What's up everybody, Greg here with Lensprotogo and Lens Rentals, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm super excited because we're going to be testing out the Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro 4.6K G2. It has an all new sensor, so some new imaging. It has the new color science, the Blackmagic RAW, some upgraded internals for high frame rates. So I'm super excited to be testing it this week. And in this video, I'm going to be doing the high ISO performance test and exposure recovery. So going through all of the ISOs, seeing how well that noise level handles, and then also checking out the exposure recovery, so over and underexposing the footage, and seeing how much we can play with it in post-production. So let's get right into this video, checking out the high ISO performance of the G2. So we're going to start off at the lowest ISO that this camera can do, and that is ISO 200. You'll also notice a 300% crop in up in the upper right hand corner, and right now it is a little bit soft because I'm wide open and I had focus a little bit short. It was closer to us, as you can see, like the mugs are in focus on the top. But that little bit of soft focus isn't going to affect the noise levels at these different ISOs. Going up to 400 ISO, and as you can see, we're still keeping a very clean and nice looking image with almost no noticeable noise. Going up to ISO 800, we're starting to see a little bit of movement in the darker areas. If you look on the left side of the frame, there's a lot more shadows that you can start to see a little bit of that movement, but it's not any color noise, which is really great. It's just some nice organic digital grain. Up to 1600, we're doubling that to another stop. And as you can see, there's a little bit more action there. You can really see it in the 300% crop in, and you're starting to see it a little bit in the wider shots, but really it's not too prominent, and this is totally usable. And then we're going up to the maximum ISO, which is 3200. And here is where it starts to get on the edge of usable. It's really nice that there's no color noise in there. It's just that really nice organic feeling grain. And in a pinch, this is totally usable. So is the high ISO performance test of the G2, and as you can see, you can push it even up into that 3200 ISO range and still get a usable image, where with some of the older models you weren't able to do this. This is partly because of the new sensor that they've put in here, as well as the Color Science 4 and the Blackmagic RAW that Blackmagic has reworked to really work better in those lower light situations. Next up, let's check out the exposure recovery, so going under and over 5 stops. So starting with our correct exposure, we have exposed for the skin here, which is about 65 IRE, and that's really what we're going off for this. As you can see, it falls off a little bit dark on the left, and some of the items like the cards are a little bit brighter on the right side. So we're really going for that middle exposure on our skin. Going to 1 stop overexposed, you can see the actual shot on the left, and then what we've been able to bring back in post and able to recover any of those overexposed or highlight areas. And with this 1 stop, we can definitely recover everything. Going up to 2 stops, it's a little bit brighter here, and we're still able to bring all that back. The areas you want to look for in this overexposure is the white mug on the top, as well as that painter's wheel right over my left shoulder. That's where we're going to start to see that blown out area be unable to be recovered first. Going up to 3 stops overexposed, you can see we're pretty blown out on that actual shot, but all of that information is still there, and we're able to bring it back in our post-production. Going up again to 4 stops, this is super blown out now, and as you can see, we're still able to recover all of this. This is super impressive, and I'm really excited to see that Blackmagic is able to have this much control in post-production. And then to 5 stops overexposed, where we also have the highlight recovery turned on, just like we do with the rest of these shots, and that's where you can start to see a little bit of posturization in the face, but it is able to recover a lot of those brighter areas like in the mug and on the white, and make it usable in most cases. Now we're back to our correct exposure, and now we're going to go in the opposite direction and go underexposed with our image. So starting with 1 stop underexposed, again, the actual shot on the left and the recovered shot on the right. Going 1 stop under, we're definitely able to bring all of that information back and all of that detail from the shadow areas. Going to 2 stops underexposed, you can start to see a little bit of a color shift towards the magenta side, but you can still get a lot of that detail back. So this is something you could probably fix with a little bit of color correction in post if you had to bring back something that was 2 stops underexposed. Going down to the next one for 3 stops underexposed, this is where we're starting to see a little bit more of that noise in there, as well as a bigger color shift than what we've seen in the past 2 shots. And this is going to start to be a little bit hard to bring back in any sort of post-production. And then to 4 stops, we are super black on the actual shot, and we're able to bring back quite a bit of the detail in the shadows, but it's also bringing a lot of grain and the noise pattern, as well as that magenta shift with that sort of magenta flare in there. And then to 5 stops underexposed, we're almost completely black on the actual shot, but we're able to bring quite a bit of that detail back with a lot of color noise, the magentas and greens, as well as that overall cast to the image, which is going to be really hard to fix with any sort of noise reduction or color correction in post. So that was the exposure recovery of the Ursa Mini 4.6K G2, and I was actually really impressed with how well this Blackmagic RAW works. The last time I saw this kind of recovery, especially in those highlights, was when I was shooting with the Alexa Mini. So I'm really excited to see what this can do and be testing it out later this week. If you want to see more videos on it, definitely stick around and check those out. And if you want to see some other tests with a bunch of different cameras, I'm going to throw a link to a playlist right up here, as well as some other videos at the end of this one. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for new videos every single week, and I'll see you in the next one.